This is completely unscripted. I just felt like talking about this because I just started rereading Dragon Ball for the first time in years. But anyway, imagine if you will, 11, 12, 10-year-old Rufus. He goes to his grandparents' house and he watches a little show on TV, a show called Dragon Ball GT.
Step into the Grand Tour, Dragon Ball GT!
That was my first introduction to the world of Dragon Ball. It's a weird starting place. I get that. But you gotta remember, this is before you could just access whatever you wanted on the internet. I didn't know what the internet was when I was like 10. Near to where my family lived, there was a £1 bookstore. And in that £1 bookstore, there was this little section called the manga section. And in that section, you could get Dragon Ball volumes, 1, 2, whatever, for about £1 each. That sounds insane. Like nowadays, that sounds like the craziest steal. Like, it is what it is. I bet I spent money on the first 2 volumes of Dragon Ball, and from that point, I never looked back. I loved reading it. And it was only after I read it for the first time as a child and thought, I'm going to show my parents this really funny joke. This joke that my parents thought, maybe this isn't age appropriate for you, Rufus. And I would argue, maybe it's still not age appropriate for me today because I don't like this. I forgot about this. And going back and rereading this as an adult, a very well-established adult, like I said, I'm 27. I hate reading early Dragon Ball. I hate watching early Dragon Ball, especially, let's just say, the entire Pilaf Saga. It still is bad after that, but there is a very high concentration of super hyper-sexualized jokes about Bulma, Goku, Oolong, Chi-Chi, characters that shouldn't be. And not only are some of these characters hyper-sexualized, at least one of these characters is confirmed to be a date molester. It's not much better. I understand. Before people get mad and say, this is written whatever year and it's Japan and the age of consent is this, da 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 da. Fuck off. Just fuck off. You're wrong. You're a wrong'un. Fuck off. And listen, I'm a massive Dragon Ball fan. I'm a big Dragon Ball Z fan. I'm a medium Dragon Ball GT fan, and I am not really a Dragon Ball Super fan. And I think I've spent a few videos now, at least 3 at this point, more on the way, talking about Dragon Ball Z and what I really like about certain arcs and whatever, and characters in particular. So I think it's only fair that I take some time to talk about some of the criticisms I have with it. And I thought today I would focus on just Dragon Ball and its pervy, super sexualized nature about a story revolving around children on an adventure. So yeah, I'm not looking to make enemies with this video. However, if this is something that you cannot get your head around and don't want to understand what I'm talking about, or just dismiss it as being part of the time, you're weird. You're weird, and I don't want you here. This is very, standoffish, but I feel like I need to just draw a line in the sand here, maybe. I've made some notes because I honestly wanted to be, somewhat prepared, but at the same time, I wanted this to be quite free-flowing because I'm kind of a little bit sick of writing scripts. So let's just talk about my notes on the Pilaf Saga of original Dragon Ball. Upon learning that Goku has one of the Dragon Balls that Bulma is after, she immediately makes a move to just sell her body in order to obtain it. Literally. She's like, yeah, cool, have a peek and a feel of me in exchange for that Dragon Ball. It's weird. At this age, Bulma is 16 years old, I believe. I've had to Google that a couple of times. I now look like a weirdo on my Google search history. I've been looking up Oolong age, Bulma age, Goku age. It's not what it looks like. Let's move on to the best and worst gag throughout the early manga. That being, Goku can't differentiate the sexes of people unless he touches their genitals. And if he feels a package, you're a dude. If it's flat, you're a lady. And I understand, Goku is a child who was raised in pretty much isolation, away from people, never met a woman before until he met Bulma, and struggles to understand what is and isn't right, especially when it comes to touching people inappropriately. It's played for a laugh. It quickly becomes not funny. I've got to stress, I really do enjoy Dragon Ball and Dragon Ball Z. It's just this stuff makes me sad. And it's one of those things where if you were to try and make someone read or watch this stuff for the first time, they'd look at you and go, huh? Goku's never had a bath. Bulma throws him in the bath and makes some comment about how other guys would love it if she gave them a bath. Again, she's 16. She could be talking about other 16-year-olds, but it's still weird. It's still weird that, Toriyama sat down and wrote this. I don't like it. Oh yeah, I really don't like this next one. It's the implication that Goku would sleep on Grandpa Gohan's crotch and use it as a pillow. a friend of mine said, yeah, like you just put your head on someone's lap and go to sleep. The way that Bulma is laying and the way that Goku is like, just like old times, would suggest it's not as innocent as sleeping on someone's lap. And I'll just put it here. Yeah, it's an odd choice. Grandpa Gohan, what are you doing? What are you doing? Goku, however, inadvertently, does kind of end up essaying Bulma at this point as well by removing while she's asleep and just full gazing. I don't like this. I don't know if I want to make this video. Fast forward, Goku and Bulma help out Turtle, the Turtle, a turtle. Master Roshi arrives and offers to grant Goku immortality, which is a funny gag. Like, imagine if Goku was made immortal just at the start of Dragon Ball. Obviously, it's played for laughs, and the immortal Phoenix is dead. Goku gets the Kintuan, or the Flying Nimbus. I've always said Kintuan. Kintuan or Flying Nimbus. And for Bulma, Roshi will give her a gift, but he wishes to see her underwear. Bulma, not realizing that she's not wearing underwear, fully flashes and exposes herself to Master Roshi. And in fact, she does it twice in total in exchange for a Dragon Ball. Roshi is like hundreds of years old at this point. Minimum 100 years old. Minimum 100. And Bulma, again, is 16. I know things are different in that part of the world. However, that doesn't mean it's right. Hot take. Stop sexualizing young people. I don't know how much I can say before YouTube catches on to the terms and then just blocks this video forever. It's all good. We're introduced to Oolong, who I think is between Goku's age and Bulma's age, or might be the same age as Goku. Either way, is going around terrorizing a village and kidnapping young girls to make them his wives. Also, Bulma throws herself at Oolong in this handsome gentleman form, and immediately after being asked, just like presents herself and is like, this is how big my boobs are. 16. I'm gonna keep saying it, 16. And if that's not a problem to you, do something about that. Look inside yourself. Do something about that. Yamcha and Puar are introduced. Yamcha, we find out, is just like deathly afraid of women. Same. Just like all of us. Just like you watching this video, probably. And he sees Bulma full-on frontally nude in the shower. And maybe the worst thing that I think happens in the series, Oolong, and I'm being genuinely quite serious now, this is quite horrific. Oolong drugs Goku and Bulma with the intention of essaying, R-wording Bulma while she is unconscious. It's played as a joke. It doesn't land. It's poor. It's a poor joke. It doesn't land. It makes me look at Oolong in the future series and go, that's a wrong'un. And I know Oolong is supposed to be same age as Goku or Bulma or whatever. I don't care. It's wrong. It's weird. It's fucked. It's honestly fucked. I've only just started swearing in this video. It's fucked. I hate it. I hate it. Kill it with fire. Kill Oolong with fire. Chi-Chi. Chi-Chi wears fantasy armor designed by men in video games. It's a weird, like, insight into Akira Toriyama's mind, almost, that when Yamcha has a discussion with her, just talking to her, at the end, Puar says, Lord Yamcha, normally you're so bad around women, like you're deathly afraid of them. And Yamcha's like, Chi-Chi, that was a kid. You think I bothered about a kid? I'm no pervert. You sure? Are you sure? Are we sure? This whole thing has been nothing but perverted. And yeah, I'm uncomfortable, as you can tell. Goku pats down Chi-Chi, and as a result, she takes that as a sign of love and falls in love with Goku. And finally, Roshi again offers to help. He puts out the fire at Fry Pan Mountain in exchange for being able to once again take a look at Bulma without her clothes on. I just made a video about Roshi. I don't regret making that video about Roshi. I maybe should have included some of this stuff in as well. But the important thing is that an important thing? Again, the joke here is that instead of Bulma going and showing Roshi a good time, she manages to convince Oolong to do it. Oolong transforms into Bulma, and instead of just giving a show, then introduces like the craziest suggestion of doing this. I'm not saying these words out loud. Doing this, and weirdly, this was like all Oolong's idea. Like, he's just like, he suggested it. Oolong's a freak. I mean, I know he's a freak. I don't like Oolong. He's a freak in a bad way. Not a good freak, a bad freak. That's kind of where I've got up to. However, I do remember, and I'm very much aware that there are continued Roshi being a perv jokes. That happens. I think in the tournament saga, whilst posing as Jackie Chan, he goes to check on Ranfan, when she's knocked out. And again, he's just trying to get a peek. Awful stuff. But luckily, pretty early on, Goku just cuts it out with the crotch grabbing. Hopefully because he can understand now the difference between a man and a woman without having to go around feeling for it. Final thoughts. It's okay for a piece of work like Dragon Ball, which is iconic and everyone mostly loves it. I say mostly, some people don't like Dragon Ball, and that's fine too. I just think that maybe when you take a look at a piece of work like this and you go back to the start and it's got all these issues, it's okay to disagree with them. I'm not looking to start an argument or a fight with the Dragon Ball community when I say that there are poorly aged chapters and arcs in Dragon Ball that do not hold up to scrutiny to a modern audience. And I would argue at the time, probably not to an audience then either. I can understand there's a difference between a Japanese audience, let's say, and a Western audience in terms of what is socially acceptable due to culture and laws and everything else that determines how you perceive a piece of media. And maybe I am looking at this through rose-tinted woke glasses and I'm picking at something that doesn't deserve to be picked on. Potentially. I, however, can't ever see myself wanting to go back and read and look at this particular piece of work again without being critical of it. And I think that whilst praising something, it is important to then, again, be critical. It feels weird that I've made this video. I'm not really sure what the end goal is, but I felt like I wanted to just get some thoughts out there just immediately upon reading. Because, you know, it's kind of fun. I like expressing myself like this. I guess if you have any interesting thoughts or takes on that, let me know, please. I'd love to hear what people think about this. And yeah, make sure you like and subscribe. Holy shit. That's the most awkward thing I've ever made in my life.